Defiance Season 2, Episode 7, If You Could See Her Through My Eyes. Definitely a good episode. It seemed like sort of a filler episode, but it was still a really good episode. It didn't really, advance too much of the main storyline except for really like the very end of the episode really advanced some of the stuff with Arissa and her basically being controlled by this monster and also finding out a little bit more information about herself, but not really because we didn't get any explanation from the longer vision that she had this time with the guy. But it was still a really good episode. We got a cool story with Daytak and his family. We really like Daytak and his wife, and then Alak and his wife. They all had their own separate stories, and each one was really well done. We had sort of our mystery part of the episode, which was what crime needs to be solved, and it was the murder of the handmaiden. And it was a really good episode. It was actually really cool to see their family sort of come back together for this time and have a truce basically, and just solve this mystery, figure out who killed our handmaiden, who we really actually gave a crap about because we've known her since she was like 7 years old. So it was really cool to see that. It sucked that the handmaiden died. It was like, oh, she. I think this is the first time she actually spoke an entire sentence, and it was just like, oh wow, she's got like quite a few lines, and then of course it's like the one episode she gets to say more than one sentence, she actually gets killed off. So I thought that kind of sucked for the actress because I mean, she was really like an extra in the show, but like the one time she really got some lines, she gets killed. So I thought that sucked too, but it was definitely a great way to start the episode. It was interesting that she went to Daytak and he basically he was just sleeping with her, but that's just how he lives now. He does random stuff. I love the doctor in this episode. I thought she was really funny. When she mentioned there are two types of friends in the world: friends that help you bury dead bodies, and then there's me. And then she basically just hands him a beer and she's like, "I'm out of here. You're a master criminal, so I'm sure you got it covered." And she just takes off. And other scenes in the episode that she was of this episode that she was in, I thought she was really funny. Like her sarcasm, just like that's why I like her character because she's so sarcastic. And in this one, it's just really funny. Like when she told Nolan, like, "I won't even charge you for the visit. How crazy is that?" And she's just like, "Whoop!" Like there's no reason for that, but I like her character because of that, because it's just so over the top sarcasm, but it is really great for her character. And then Daytak, I can't think of his name now, but Daytak working with the other guy who used to own the mines, them working together was actually pretty interesting. And then when they get caught at the end of the episode, it's like Daytak like destroys this guy, like pops his eyeballs, and they're just like, oh hey Nolan, he's just running with scissors, and they just like walk off like they're just like two like rebel cops or something in the movie, and they just like take off like, we solved our problem, we know what happened, you got your revenge, I helped you out because you promised those guns to take on the E-Rep, so we're good to go, I'm out of here. And they just walk off like they just did something, like they're just cool and they're untouchable or something. But that was a cool part of the episode. Of course, Nolan finding out everything about Arissa, that she can heal, her getting stabbed. I thought they were gonna move past it, which I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. I thought it was just like a little point where he clearly saw her get stabbed and then she was healed, and you're just like, oh, I guess he missed you with those scissors. I thought it was gonna kind of be like that, where it's like they're clearly putting the steps in, but fortunately in this episode they just flat out deal with it, and he comes at her and he just takes her down and he cuts her hand and he heals right up, and it's like now she can't deny it, and she doesn't, and she tells him the whole story. So that was a great way to end the episode. I definitely enjoyed that. It was a cool little scene. I didn't expect him to do that. I thought they were gonna like argue or something. I didn't expect him to just like flip her over and take her down and like cut her hand to kind of test it, but I thought that was really cool. It was a really nice scene. And also there were other scenes put in there as well, like Galak sleeping with the girl Deidre, whatever her name is. And I don't know what the heck her problem is. She's clearly just trying to get Galak, and I guess she kind of has him now, because she was helping his wife, and then she just like she manipulated her. Basically, she was trying to help her out, like, this will help you learn their culture better. It'll help you feel like one of them more than you do now. You won't feel like such an outsider. And then she just does stuff to mess with Alack, and she knows what she's doing, of course, because she just wants to be rich and she wants to be Alack's princess. And it's just like, what, she couldn't just not be a douche, but that's got to be, she's the character. That's what her character is doing. So she's torn a rift between Alack and his wife, and I don't know what's gonna happen with them. I'm actually really curious because it could lead him down the path of being more like his dad, with him having that anger in him, I guess. But I don't know. It was definitely an interesting episode. Her being busted. She didn't know who the current mayor was. She didn't recognize him, so that was interesting. He seemed disappointed by that, though. Actually, when she said that, it could have been on purpose, or it could have just randomly been like the actor just made that face and it wasn't, meant to be that way. But he looked like he was actually disappointed that she didn't recognize him, and maybe that's because he thinks like if she does recognize me and she knows who I am and she still likes me the way that she does, he might think it's way more than it actually is. Then maybe he, thinks, oh, she'll actually like me as a human too. But it was definitely a great episode. I enjoyed all the different parts of it. It didn't focus nearly as much on them dressing up as Castisons nearly as much as I thought it would. That didn't even seem like the main point of the episode. It was actually the girl getting her eyes taken out, which, if you can only see her through my eyes, I thought that was sort of a statement on the episode, like them being in other people's skin, but it was almost very literal, like people were losing their eyeballs and they have to track this guy down. But it worked in multiple ways in this episode, so that was pretty cool. Um, there was other little stuff. We got the former mayor. She went to the current guy and asked like, why did he send Pottinger off and stuff. And she got like a little spiel about how she should be in charge, or she could be in charge because she has the experience and stuff like that, but she doesn't betray him. I enjoyed that scene. The current guy who's taking over, he kind of seemed like a dick in that part. And he's like, you didn't knock, and he was like, you have my permission to leave, stuff like that. It's like I understand he's a really high-ranking official, so he has that information where it's like it is a need-to-know basis as far as he's concerned, and he doesn't believe Pottinger is a good guy. But at the same time, certain things are pointed out, like Pottinger does good work. He maintains the city, and if he needs to, he will take charge and really like get rid of people if that's what needs to be done. It sucks that he does that, but in the type of town that they're in, he's able to take charge and get rid of the tough people, and he should be respected for that rather than being just sent off to do stupid errands. But that was a cool little scene. Something else random that I noticed was towards the end of the episode when Alak was in the need want. When they showed the front of it, they had like a bunch of bikes on top of the sign, which I'd never noticed before. I thought that was so random. I was like, why are all these bikes here? But that was something that just stood out to me in this episode that I'd never noticed before. They're just bikes all along the top of the sign, and it's something that caught my attention, so I thought I'd mention that. But I enjoyed this episode. I'm excited for next week's episode. I can't wait to see what happens with Nolan and Arissa, how much danger Nolan's really going to be in. Also, I wonder if that's going to help Nolan and Tommy kind of come back together now that they both know the secret. It won't, they still have their differences as far as being lawkeeper within Defiance, so that'll still be there. But maybe them both helping out Arissa, trying to figure out how does she sort of work with this machine while stopping it, or I guess creature while stopping it, it could bring them back together. And I hope it does, because I like Tommy. He seems, in this season, with him arguing with Nolan all the time, he just seems really mad. Like, he's not like he's not the comedic character he was in season 1. He's grown up. He's dealt with them being gone. He joined the E-Rep, and he was the lawkeeper for a while after basically losing his mentor in season 1, and then Nolan takes over, and he learned under him, and then he was lawkeeper, and then Nolan comes back, and he's just like cast aside because he doesn't have the skills. I want to see him go back to who he used to be, where he is the more comedic character and stuff, because I like Tommy as a character, but in this season he's really just been angry because of Nolan coming back and basically just taking his job like it was nothing, and that is what happened because Nolan has that experience over Tommy. But hopefully they come together and Tommy kind of goes back at least a little bit back to who he was in season 1. But Definitely a good episode. Excited for next week. Comment below. Let me know what you guys saw of this episode. Your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And there were a lot of different plot points that kind of went through Nolan and Narissa, um, Alak and his wife, Daytak and his wife. Them kind of sort of bonding together, but not really bonding. They had their truce moment. But what do you guys think is going to happen with these sort of three relationships? And also, I guess between with Daytag kind of working behind the scenes to go after the E-Rep, how do you guys think things are basically gonna come to a head in Defiance? Because these are, of course, all the main characters. Just happen to be all the most important people within the city for the most part. So, how do you guys think that's gonna actually affect Defiance with all these different relationships constantly changing and in very, very big ways? How do you guys think that's gonna change Defiance as a whole? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.